Hello, my name is Justin Stanford. I'm the HLTA in the HI Hub based at St John Fisher School in Peterborough. I have put this PowerPoint together to help some of you with the HI technology that you have in school. I've attached a feedback link with this PowerPoint. Please, can you take 5 minutes at the end to complete this? Any questions you have, please feel free to email me on justin.stanford@stjohnfisherschool.org.uk. Thank you. Before we begin looking at HI technology, I would just like to show some statistics and some myths and misunderstandings we have about hearing impairment. The most important thing to remember from this slide is, given the right support, there is no reason for any deaf child to develop language at a slower rate than a hearing child with similar abilities. During the next few slides, I would like to talk about some myths and misunderstandings we have about hearing loss. If we get these right, then it helps us to better understand how the technology we have can support our learners. The first myth we have is that all people with hearing loss experience the same problems. Well, that's not quite true, because the fact actually is that hearing loss is about loudness and frequency. Here is a funny example of 3 different people who have different types of hearing loss. From what they're saying, you can see the confusion. On this slide, we have an audiogram, and on the audiogram is the speech banana. This shows what speech sounds this particular person can hear. Any speech sounds that are below the red circles can be heard. Any speech sounds above the red circles cannot be heard. Looking at this audiogram, please spend a minute or two trying to guess what is being said before moving on to the next slide. Kathy went fishing in the creek on Saturday. This is a really good example of how some HI learners without any technology can miss out on some of the key language spoken. An audiogram doesn't show everything. It helps us understand what frequencies, or better still, what speech sounds can be heard or not. What it doesn't show us is a number of different things. For example, how well is the learner able to use lip reading, or how tired they are on one particular day. Myth number 2. You can hear if you tried harder. You could hear last time. There are many factors that affect our hearing abilities. We need to take these into account every time, even if we are in the same room. Rooms, or areas of learning, can vary dramatically. You need to be aware of outside noise. Are you facing the learner when speaking? Is the room large or small? Does it have carpet? Are windows open with a motorway sound coming through? Is the door open? Are they situated near an overhead projector? We even need to make sure the learner is on top form. Are they rested and well? And how far are they away from you. All of these make a big difference to someone who is hearing impaired. Myth number 3. Hearing aids fix everything. As good as that sounds, unfortunately that's not quite correct. It's important to remember that hearing aids do not fix hearing loss. They are different to glasses which correct your sight. Hearing aids still need to go through the bad ear. They won't sound the same as a non-HI learner. They can also pick up interference and background noise. The last myth I'd like to talk about today is volume is the only problem. A lot of people might say, we can just turn up the volume, or why don't you just sit a bit closer? Unfortunately, turn up the volume isn't the solution, and the next slide will demonstrate that in a much clearer way. This slide is a really good graphical representation demonstrating how louder isn't necessarily clearer, and it certainly isn't easier to understand. Here we have a visual representation of background noise on speech. The more background noise we have, the harder it becomes to understand what is being said. This is why radio aids and sound fields really can help. What we need to remember when we think about speech is that it's communication, and communication isn't about what is said or how it was said. Communication is primarily about what is understood. Hearing aids are used to improve the hearing and speech comprehension of people who have hearing loss. They help you hear everyday sounds such as the doorbell and the telephone. They improve your ability to hear speech. They make you feel more confident when talking to people and make it easier for you to follow conversations in different environments. They do have limitations though, and do not work well in all environments. The classroom is a good example of an environment where hearing aids don't work quite so well. This could be due to many reasons: the acoustics of the room, the size of the room, background noise, the list goes on.
The bread was not very fresh today. The bread was not very fresh today. The bread was not very fresh today. The bread was not very fresh today.
Our voice alone isn't enough for a HI learner to be able to hear at distance. Another reason why HI learners should be at the front of the classroom. We do have technology that can help with this distance problem. I'll explain in the next slide. So now we come to the technology which we can use in our classroom to help support our HI learners. Radio aids are small devices that connect to hearing aids directly. The radio aid is worn around the neck. It picks up your voice like a microphone and transmits the signal straight to the hearing aid or implant. This helps reduce background noise and makes your voice clearer and much easier to understand. Radio aids can be used in many situations. It is really important to use these if you have background noise, a large room, or you are speaking at a distance. Radio aids come in different shapes and sizes. Some have touch screens, some have buttons, and some even look like a pen. They may look different, but they all primarily do the same job. Here is a picture of a hearing aid. The important thing to remember here is that the radio aid will not work without the receiver attached. The audio input shoe attaches to the hearing aid and the receiver then attaches to the shoe. It will only go one way and clicks in place when it's correctly installed. This is a Roger touchscreen radio aid. It is one of the more common radio aids on the market. You may have seen one. Your HI learner will probably know how to turn on the radio aid and how to connect. Most of the time it will already be on and connected to the hearing aid. It's important for you to know how this process works, just in case. If the screen is blank, then press the power button until you see a light or screen come on. On the next slide, I'll explain how to connect the radio aid to the hearing aid. Once you know the radio aid is turned on, you can then start to connect the radio to the receiver. Make sure the receiver is firmly attached to the shoe before you start. You need to press the connect button on the radio aid and move the radio aid near to the receiver on the hearing aid. 10 centimeters away should be close enough to connect. Please remember to repeat this process on the other side and connect the other receiver to the radio aid in the same way. When positioning the radio aid, there are a number of things to remember. The radio aid needs to be one handspan away from your chin, or roughly 15 centimeters away. If you have a lanyard, please remove this as it knocks onto the radio aid and causes interference. Also, if you have jewellery or anything around you that can make background noise, please remember to take it off. The radio aid will pick up any sounds that are close to you. All radio aids have a mute button. The Roger touchscreen one in the picture is very big and obvious. They are not all like this. Before you start using your particular radio aid, please make sure you know how to mute the radio aid. If you're unsure, please ask the learner. The radio aid will transmit your voice from another room. The learner will be able to hear what you are saying. If you are not talking to the learner or the whole class directly, then please mute the radio. You do not want your private conversations being overheard. Radio aids are very expensive. Some of them can cost up to £1,000 and need to be looked after correctly. If the radio aid is stored in your setting, then please make sure it's charged overnight and locked away. Try not to keep adjusting the neck strap. Once the strap is set, it should be okay just to unclip and clip the strap rather than pulling at it, as this can sometimes cause issues. Radio aids aren't the only technology we have at our disposal. Sound fields are also a great piece of technology. These are basically a mini PA system. They can be portable or they can be fixed into the classroom. You wear a microphone around your neck, and this amplifies your voice in an unobtrusive way around the whole learning environment. Doesn't matter whether you're at the front or the back of the classroom, you hear the teacher's voice in equal amounts. The best part about the Soundfield system is that it helps every child in the classroom to engage more in the lesson. It's not just the HI learners, but everybody benefits. You can even easily plug the HI learner's radio aid into the Soundfield in about 5 seconds. I will explain how we do that in another slide. This will then use the Soundfield's microphone and transmit straight into the HI learner's hearing aid or implant. So not only is your voice amplified around the whole classroom, it's also still going directly to the HI learner. As I said in the last slide, the biggest benefit about the Soundfield system is that it reaches the whole class, including the HI learner's radio aid. As we know, class sizes are getting bigger, rooms are becoming more open plan, and we need our learners to have the best possible chance of succeeding. Soundfields have been proven to improve learners' engagement and behaviour. As with anything, there are drawbacks. It won't work well in very large spaces like an assembly hall. Plus, it won't get rid of any background noise. And sometimes, especially when you first introduce a class, you may find that it distracts the learners. They may start asking questions. So once you've answered any questions, it should be fine. You may be asking yourself the question, should I use radio aid, Soundfield, or both? There's no right or wrong answer to this, but my suggestions are that if you have a Soundfield in your learning environment, then I would suggest that you always use it, especially if you have more than 10 students in the class. If you have a HI learner within a class, then I would suggest that you plug the radio aid into the Soundfield and get the best of both worlds. The next couple of slides are 2 very short video clips demonstrating how to set up your Soundfield and also how to connect a radio aid to the Soundfield.
Hi, my name is Andrew from Word of Mouth Technology. We're going to talk to you today about how to use the front row Juno system. Each Juno system consists of a speaker that you can see here, and for this system here, 2 microphones. The first microphone is used by the teacher, and it's actually just worn around the neck like so, and you can adjust it so that it sits around about where your collarbone is. When we're using the microphone, all we need to do to make it work is press the small button on the front. When we press that, our voice is amplified and brought onto the air. We can adjust the volume of the system on the touch screen, and you typically find that in a normal sized classroom, that volume should be set between about 14 to 17. It's important not to have it set too loud because we don't want you to over amplify for the students in the class. This tool is funded in this application for students with a hearing loss, but we do want you to remember that the system is of benefit to everybody. It helps teachers by making your voice clearer without you having to strain your voice, and it helps all of the students who may not have a diagnosed hearing loss but still find it hard to concentrate for longer periods of time. So we want you to remember that this tool is of benefit for everyone. Wearing this microphone, you are able to simply activate and be heard across the classroom through the Juno speaker, and in this instance there's also a second microphone that can be used by the students. You can use both microphones at the same time, And this one, we want to make sure that if the students are using it, that it's passed around and used whenever there's conversation or communication happening in the class. It shouldn't just be used for the show and tell microphone at the front of the room. The speaker itself will turn off when the system is not in use, so there's no need for you to switch the unit off at the end of the day. It goes into a sleep mode, and in the morning, when you put your microphone on, the system will wake up and your voice will be amplified through the system. Remember that the system uses infrared to transmit your voice, so the signal is contained within the room. If you do leave the room, your voice will stop. It's important to also remember to use the mute button on the front of the microphone when you want the conversation to be private and not broadcast through the speaker. So at the moment, my voice is coming through the speaker. If I press the button on the front, you see a small red light that indicates that it's on mute. I can then quickly press that button again to bring my voice back on the air. Both microphones have a rechargeable battery in them, and at the end of the class, you can take the microphone off with the clip that just pulls apart and plug it in to the charging lead connected to the side of each speaker. When connected, there'll be a red light to show you that the battery is charging, and that light will turn green when the battery's charged. The same process is followed for the student microphone, so we can charge both microphones at the same time. There's a small hook on the side of the Juno tower where you can leave the microphones on charge and keep them out of the way. We want you to remember, as I've said at the beginning, that this is a solution for everybody. It will make speech clearer for you, and it will make it easier for all the students to hear. If you have any questions at all, you can contact us by calling our number on the side of this unit, or ask your student support services staff or the visiting teacher that visits your school. You can contact us for further information on 9723 0660 or visit our website at wom.com.au. Thanks for listening, and we hope you look forward to using your Front Row Juno system. Hi, Andrew here from Word of Mouth Technology. We're going to show you quickly how you can connect personal listening systems as well as computers and other audio sources to the Front Row Juno system. First of all, if you are in a classroom where there is a hearing impaired student, they may have one of their own personal FM transmitters. Now, normally this is worn by the teacher and it transmits your voice directly to the student's hearing aids. If you're using a sound field system in the room, one option is to patch the two together. What that means is you can wear the one microphone for the sound field system, and whatever comes through that system is also sent directly to the student's hearing aids. The benefit of that is if you are using a system with two microphones, the students will be able to hear not only what you say, but what the students say in the class. It's also a great way for knowing that the system's actually working, because when we use an FM system by itself, sometimes we can find that the only person who knows whether it's working or not is the student with a hearing loss. So the first step is to grab the audio cable, which has two of the same connections on both ends. It's called a 3.5mm plug. It might be commonly known as a headphone jack. Now, on the side of the Juno tower, it connects to the connection marked audio out, and the other end of the cable connects to the audio input on the bottom of the student's personal transmitter. So we have the microphone being used for the Juno system, my voice coming through the speaker, and then a cable connecting the output of the Juno to the input of the student's FM transmitter. This unit needs to be turned on, and you can place it on the hook, which is on the side of the speaker, or a table that's nearby. It's important to remember to leave the lapel mic untangled, because this acts as the antenna and ensures that the student will get a nice clear signal. One other point to make sure you do check is that on the side where the audio out connection is, there's a volume level control. Now, typically you want this position between about 6 or 7, and if we've set the system up for you at the school, our technicians will have already set this to the situation where it should be set. The next step is just to show you how to connect an audio source to the Juno tower. So if you have a laptop that plays music, or you even wanted to play music from an iPhone, you can actually connect that through to the Juno system. This is an audio cable. It connects on the side of the unit to the inputs where we can see audio 1, 2 and 3. This cable has a red and a white plug, and I'm going to put it in input 1. I put the white plug into the white socket and the red into the red socket. The other end, which looks like a standard headphone plug, can be plugged into my iPhone or into the same connection that's on your computer. That's usually looked at, you'll see the headphone jack. So I can plug into my iPhone right now, and if we just unlock the phone and go straight to some music, music's coming through there now, and by pressing the music symbol on the bottom of the touch screen, I can choose to increase the volume. So that's how you connect a personal FM system as well as another audio source to your Juno tower. And remember, you can use the microphone all the time, and the other sources can be used at the same time as well. If you've got any questions, call us on the number on the side of the unit or visit our website at wom.com.au. Thanks for listening.
We also have other technology which can be used to help our HI learners. These come in the form of apps which can be downloaded onto tablets or mobile phones. The first one I want to show you quickly is Google Live Transcribe. This is an app that picks up speech and turns it into text in real time. It uses the device's microphone and then processes it into text. It's quite unbelievable how quickly speech translates into text. There is a free version on the App Store. Please take 5 minutes to download this app and see what you think. This app is called AVA. It's very similar to Google Live Transcribe, but it can be used in a group. For example, if a group of 5 friends want to talk to each other and one person is hard of hearing, they can all download the app, open it up and start talking. The conversation will translate into text and will show up under individual names. This is a great way of communicating in a group. This app is called Subtitle Viewer. This works alongside film or TV. For example, you can open this app in the cinema and it will give you subtitles for whichever film you want to watch. You could open this app up whilst at home watching EastEnders and it would also give you subtitles. Technology is changing all the time. I have listed some of the improvements to hearing aids that are happening as we speak. Batteries are getting smaller and lasting longer. Hearing aids are getting smarter. Some of the best ones now can connect to your smartphone and can be linked to a wide range of household tech. Improvements to software and new hardware are being released every week. Everything is getting smarter. The future is bright for HI Tech. Thank you for viewing this presentation. We have now come to an end. Sorry I can't be there to answer your questions, but please feel free to email me and I will get back to you with an answer as soon as I can. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.